You started a fire somewhere deep in my mind.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for hanging out with me on my channel for another video. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Agnes and my channel is The Sunday Stylist, and I create content to motivate, inspire and encourage you to live your best life. And I truly believe that that starts with a clean, organized home environment. So with that being said, let's jump straight into today's video on my top 7 tips to declutter and organize your home. If you have watched my channel for a while, you will know I started this YouTube channel as a means of keeping myself accountable on my decluttering journey as I downsized from a 5-bedroom, 2-car garage family home to a pretty tiny 2-bedroom inner city apartment with no garage or external storage whatsoever. I have been asked many times in the comments of other videos for tips and advice on decluttering, from where to start, how to tackle the process, what worked for me, and what I would do differently if I had to do it again. Even though I have downsized and gotten rid of a ridiculous amount of stuff over the past 5 years, I still have to remember that it is a continual process that requires constant maintenance to achieve the right amount of stuff for me and my family. And that is a key thing you need to remember here. One person's view of how many things or how much stuff they own and have in their own home will be completely different to another's. My home may look cluttered and too full of things to someone watching who's a complete minimalist. But what some people watching one video may not understand is that this small apartment I'm living in is only a temporary rental, and it contains every single thing that my family owns. I don't have a garage or a storage facility to store out-of-season clothes or holiday decor or furniture that doesn't quite fit in this space, but that I still want to keep for our next home. That brings me to tip number 1, which is a saying that I have that I constantly need to remind myself of, and that is no more than you have room for. Now, as I said, I currently rent a tiny inner city apartment. It is not our forever home. It's just a short-term stepping stone until I save a big enough deposit to buy our next family home, which will likely be still a city apartment, just a slightly bigger one. I still need to remember every time I want to buy something new, whether it be furniture or decor or any other item, that our home is pretty much at max capacity for stuff, and that in order to bring in something new, I'm going to have to be prepared to let go of something I already own. I try to implement the rule of one out before one comes in, because I know myself well enough that if I buy something new before I make room for it by getting rid of something existing, that I will likely end up shuffling things around the apartment and end up keeping both the old and the new. The reason why I do this leads us to tip number 2, and that is what is known as a sunk cost bias. And this can be problematic when it comes to decluttering, as you associate your hard-earned dollars spent on things and stuff, and you feel like you have to get your money's worth from each and every item that you own, which is totally understandable. But I know for me, it doesn't matter if I spent $50 or $500 on an item. I always feel like if I get rid of it, the loss of the money initially spent is greater than the gain of the benefits of letting it go. This is known as loss aversion, and it's a very common human behavior. But if you shift your thinking and attach a greater value to the benefits of getting rid of your excess stuff, like the benefits of less clutter to deal with, less mess to clean, and less stuff to organize, you will definitely find it easier to stop associating feelings of loss with decluttering, and it will eventually become easier to start letting things go. This leads me on to my 3rd tip, which is also something I've struggled with over my decluttering journey, and that is the feeling of guilt that you can experience when you are potentially getting rid of things that have been gifted to you, for example. The saying "there shall be no guilt when it comes to living fabulously" should be front and center in your mind when you are decluttering. Remember, you are decluttering for yourself and your family, and you don't need to keep that ugly gift that your mother's second cousin's great aunt gave you 12 Christmases ago because you feel guilty about giving it away or passing it on to someone that might love it. You learn to let go of the guilt, you will find that letting go of your stuff is 1,000 times easier. And that brings me to the 4th tip I have, and that is something I like to call same but different. And that is where you have multiples of essentially the exact same thing, where having just one type is probably more than enough. As an example, I used to have something absolutely ridiculous like 12 different sets of wine glasses. I had white wine glasses, red wine glasses in 4 different shapes and sizes, glasses especially for sangria that I used maybe once in 2 years. It was crazy, such a waste of space, and honestly, the only time I ever touched most of them was to pack them up each time we moved house. I cut back to 1 set of wine glasses, the same size and shape for red or white, because let's face it, who actually cares when you're drinking wine? 1 set of champagne flutes and a set of cocktail glasses that double as dessert dishes. Other same but different examples that, again, I am guilty of is beauty products like shampoo and conditioner. I am absolutely terrible at buying new product when there is like 3/4 of a full bottle left. Other things that I'm really bad at is cleaning products. I will buy multiples of the same thing without fail because I am always on the lookout for new things to test. But I'm conscious of this and I actively limit myself now to only the number of items that can fit in a designated space that is allocated to each product. My fifth tip for decluttering is to, when you are decluttering and you are in the middle of the process, ask yourself one question when you are trying to decide whether you want to keep something or get rid of it. And that is, would I buy this again? Would I buy this item again? And if the answer is yes, then keep it and make room for it in your life. If the answer is no, then don't think twice and let that shit go, and let it go fast. I know there are a ton of decluttering methods floating around the internet, like the Marie Kondo method. This is where she says you should declutter by category and take absolutely everything out for each category. For me, this just does not work as it is way too overwhelming. I'd much rather chunk decluttering up into micro categories or specific areas that I know I can get done and dusted in a short set amount of time. I know if I declutter my clothes, for example, and I pull every single item out from my closet, drawers, and off-season storage, then I am looking at 5 or 6 hours of investment of time, and that in and of itself is so off-putting to me that I will just say, no way, too hard, I am not doing that. And I will never get started. However, if I say I'm going to spend 20 minutes decluttering, for example, my underwear and socks, I am 1,000 times more likely to get in and smash it out because it's an easy chunk of time and an achievable task. So I do this with projects throughout my home on a fairly regular basis. I'll pick a drawer or a cupboard or a simple category of things like cleaning products, for example, and I'll go through and declutter and organize one thing quickly and easily in 20 minutes or less. The key to decluttering isn't to pull your entire house contents out into an overwhelming messy pile and ask, does this spark joy, or will this be an encumbrance to someone if they inherit it when I die? It is just to simply ask yourself one question: would I buy this again? When you ask that question again, if the answer is yes, you keep it. If the answer is no, you get rid of it, but you get rid of it today. My sixth tip for decluttering comes when you are not 100% sure if you want to keep something or not, and the way I deal with this is by using something I like to call purgatory. I will pack an item up for 3 to 6 months period, and if I haven't missed it or gone to use it in that time period, then I am pretty confident that I can pass it on to someone who will make great use of it or just drop it off at the charity store. Honestly, if I had to declutter all over again, I think I would hire a set of moving crates for a week or two, leave out the absolute essentials that I need to live or things that I know I couldn't or wouldn't want to live without, then pack absolutely everything else up. I'd then probably go through one box at a time and just really assess what I want, and if at the end of that period I hadn't gone in to grab an item or I hadn't missed anything, I would simply get rid of the lot. My seventh and final tip of decluttering your life is very simple. Once you have made the decision to get rid of something from your home or your life, act immediately and get rid of it today. Right now, like literally do it there and then. Either load it up in the car and take it to the charity store for someone else to make use of, or if you're selling an item, take the time to place your ads on Marketplace or Craigslist, or schedule a garage sale and make a commitment to get it done. There's nothing worse that you can do than leaving it piled up in the corner of the spare room or rolling around in the trunk of your car for 3 months, because chances are you will go rifling back through your discarded items, change your mind, and pull out half of what you've decluttered and put it back into your house. See things through to the end and don't stop until everything you have decluttered has left your possession for good. So guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you have found some ideas, inspiration, and encouragement to get you started or keep you motivated on your decluttering journey. Remember, it is just that, a journey, and it is a journey that does take time, but even the smallest effort is still progress in the right direction. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to take the time to hit the like button. Not only does it do awesome things for my channel's engagement analytics, and I am a hardcore algorithm data nerd, but it lets me know that you enjoy this type of content, so I will create more. If you aren't already a subscriber here, then go ahead and subscribe before leaving, or better yet, hang out and watch another video or 5 with me. I mean, who doesn't love a good old YouTube binge watching session? Guilty for sure. I hope you all have an absolutely fabulous weekend, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone.